Welcome to episode 17 of the Let's Talk Games podcast. My name is Daniel. Next to me in a very sinister looking room is Chunt.
Yes, Sinister Chunt is sinister.
And looking all proper over at the right hand side there is Jamie.
Yo,
Evening, Jamie.
made an effort to brush my hair for you this week.
That's what we like to see.
Nice.
That's what we like to see.
Yes.
All right, boys, we got some news this week. Interesting news. But before we get there, we want to talk about what we've been playing. And first, I'm going to toss a coin to the man in the middle. Chunt, what have you been playing this week?
Yeah, certainly not Witcher.
I thought that segue was so good.
Yeah, I picked up on it. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm not feeling it. I don't know why. I'm going to try again some more this weekend. I've had a lot of distractions this week with work and stuff, so I just haven't been in the mindset, I think. So I'm just going to chill out this weekend and do nothing and see if that works. But Animal Crossing is still going. I'm now under my last $1 million. So 900 and something thousand bells left until I pay off my basement. I need to know what happens. I need it.
I'm afraid to ask, Chunt, what are you storing in the basement?
Clones of you that I've got strapped up to my sex wall.
It's the hair, isn't it? It's the hair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm jealous.
Oh, well, hopefully that's not my fate, but another word for fate could be destiny. And Jamie, what have you been playing this week?
Oh, Destiny. I have played Destiny. I have also carried on with Detroit Become Human. Finally.
Oh, cool.
They patched it a few days ago. I got, a notification that, this game needs an update. I was like, I need to play you. Installed the patch and it fixed the bug that I was having where Marcus, that's what matey out of Grey's Anatomy's called, right? Because I got kind of his first part, in the house, Dan, that you'll obviously know what I'm referring to, when you meet the person he's caring for. I kept clipping through the floor. And I was like, I can't be asked to start this again. They'll fix it sometime, and they fixed it. So I've done the next sort of 2 chapters, and that thoroughly enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
It looks gorgeous. Like, I've moved, obviously, in the time since then. I've got a 4K screen in here as well. And just dialed everything up to 4K Ultra and just whacked it on there, and it's pretty special. So I'm thoroughly enjoying that. But yeah, other than that, been playing Destiny, Iron Banner this week, so been PvPing my ass off. Reminding myself that I'm really good at it. Other than that, yeah, not a lot. What about you, Dan?
What are you playing Detroit on? Because it's on a couple of things now, isn't it? On PC.
Yeah, Epic. The Epic store is where I got it. I got it last Christmas it was the first one to come out, wasn't it? It came out before Heavy Rain and Beyond. And I got it for something stupid over Christmas. They were doing you basically save $10 or £10 or whatever, 10 monies. From now on, I think we've established I'm just going to refer to everything as monies. We're going to have to remember to do that a little bit later on today because it's a topic. But the Epic store, I got 10 monies off it over Christmas last year, so it was like 12 monies.
Well, and with the trailer, the Horizon having a PC trailer on August 7th today, which I think I sent you before. More Sony stuff on PC, which is good.
Yes.
So
have you played anything?
I have not played anything this week. Really interesting because when the first Last of Us came out, I remember after I finished that game, I was just wrecked and I couldn't play anything. Anything I went to go play, I'm like, this is just not as good. I haven't had quite that same reaction, but I haven't had the urge to play anything else this week, except I was looking at a few reviews for Iron Man VR, and I'm kind of getting behind it, so I'll probably play that this week before Ghost of Tsushima comes out in a couple of weeks. So,
God, that's pretty good.
So I didn't even play any 2K. And speaking of 2K, we got some
God, segues today. Jeez.
All about them segues.
Speaking of 2K,
Aggressive.
you know, I've played NBA 2K for years and years now, and slowly they started, even though they still had all these shitty microtransactions in the game, ones that I don't buy or use anyway, but they were slowly making it a little bit better. Like, it was a little bit better to upgrade your guy. It was a little bit better here, a little bit better there. Well, they just shit the bed this week. So it was announced this week. Rather than, we thought EA was bad with Madden and having it. If you want to upgrade your game, you've got until March 31st to upgrade it. Otherwise, bad luck, you got to buy the game again. Well, 2K said, hold my beer. So with this new structure for 2K, I have got both the Australian prices and the UK prices here. I tried to get it from the same group of people. The standard, if you want to get standard edition of NBA 2K21, the next game, you can buy it for $79 in here in Australia, is the cheapest I found it. You can buy it for £55. However, if you're looking to upgrade to your next generation machine, you can buy the Mamba edition for $149 Australian or £84. And that will give you a free upgrade to the next generation of machines. Or you can just wait and get a standard edition on the next generation for $110 Australian or £65. So one, I think that is just egregious the way they're doing it. But the other conversation at hand here is, are we going to start getting games that are 125 or 110 Australian dollars or £65? This is worrying. There's talk around the industry that this is going to be like the industry is going to see whether this is sustainable. This is the way they want to go. But can I get some thoughts from Hunt yourself? Like, what are your thoughts if games started costing us $110 down here?
Yeah, look, I think for us, I can't speak for the rest of the world, but in Australia, they always feel like they're expensive. And you get people from overseas coming over here. And I've seen some clips on YouTube of like other celebrities or YouTubers or whatever coming to Australia and they're in the gaming scene and they have a look at EB or CEX or whatever. And they're just like, what the hell? Like, why are these games so expensive over here? So it's not just us that feels like that, but it's obviously when people come here and they see the exchange and what the games cost, that they even balk at it. So I already feel bad enough about throwing down $120 on a special edition of a game that just has some DLC in it for some limited edition shit. To have that as the standard for just your standard game, I fear like the $150 limited edition or whatever, the steelbook and shit. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to this. I kind of saw it coming, even though I don't think it's warranted. I mean, everybody at the moment is like, oh, but games are going to cost so much more, and people need to get paid and blah blah blah, all that kind of shit. But it's like, well, the game industry makes more than any other industry, like in media, like cinema, Hollywood, music, all combined. So money doesn't seem like it's too much of a problem. But look, my argument is I will pay the extra if there's no monetization. Like that's where I will kind of come to the party. Like if there's no DLC as far as cosmetic shit or just in-game items and stuff, even the DLC chapters, like CD Projekt Red, they do massive expansions for The Witcher, and it's still at a relatively low cost, but you're getting so much out of it. But other companies don't do that. Like Mortal Kombat 11 is a good example recently, where if you wanted to buy the entire game, it'd be close to $200 to have all the fighter packs and the Aftermath expansion. I don't like it. I don't like where we're at right now. This just makes a very strong case, even stronger, for Game Pass, where I think I might have chatted to you guys last night about it, where it just makes me go, yep, I'm going to lean heavily on Game Pass next gen for my exclusives, that I don't want to like put my own money down for, and I'm just going to sit and wait for sales for everything else. Like I can't justify spending $120 on, say, 15 games in the year. That's a lot for me. So yeah, a bit nervous about it. Done.
Jamie?
I mean, I sit kind of on the fence a little bit because I agree that games need to get more expensive, and it's just a fact that, we all know that games have not gotten more expensive in the last few generations. There was this conversation happening as we transitioned into the current gen. If you guys think back, there was a conversation around, are these games going to cost more? And it was always rumored to be around the, we'll use American benchmarks because most stuff comes out of there, but as $10. So, they pay $60 for a game. There was rumors of a $5 or $10 increase. That was all kind of labeled along the lines of, there was the upgrade programs last year where you paid a little bit and you got the next gen version for, I think it was $10. And that conversation kind of led to, well, will these games cost $10 more? And we got to a situation where they really didn't. We kept the price in as it was in the 360 PS3 era, and as it has been for so long. Inflation has gone up, right? And that's what inflation is. It's risen. Rise, inflate. That is what has happened to society. And it's happened a good number of times since games last got any kind of price hike. And the way that these worlds are being built and the amount of people that have to build these games now, and I'm saying have to as in, someone's demanding it of them. Of course, it's the vision of the people making it, but I can suck a £10 increase here. Or I think it works out $5. Dan, did you just say they were looking at 65? So most of our digital storefronts...
£65.
Yeah, so most of our digital storefronts here are $55 or $59.99 for pretty much any new release. You can get physical versions for $49 usually, but digital, which is what we're obviously talking about, and I think this plays into this price hike a little bit, would usually be $55, $59. So, you're looking at maybe, £5 or £10 over here, which is fine if you're not buying 100 million games a year. I think the conversation is going to get sour, but I think people will just come to go along with it. And I don't think that that's the end of it. I don't think that this 10 monies hike, except for Australia, I understand that that's like, 20 monies hike for you, or 30 in some cases. But what would you be willing to pay for? And we'll use The Witcher as the example. There's no way Cyberpunk is going to come out and be more than this generation's cost because it's part of smart delivery. And they're just going to keep the cost of that game the same for anyone who buys it anywhere. But what would you realistically have paid for The Witcher that came with, I think they did 16 pieces of DLC for free after launch? That's before the expansions happened. So what would you pay for that? As someone who played through the base game and the expansions, my total cost of admission was, admittedly I was in Australia, so I would have paid, I think I paid $79 for the game, and then the expansion would have been $45. So yeah, $125 admission for what I got roughly 125 hours of gameplay out of. $1 an hour to play that video game. I got my money's worth. It doesn't bother me. And people are saying, Rockstar, by being part of Take-Two, could be the ones that are poised to capitalize on this early with their titles such as 2K, etc., so that when Grand Theft Auto rolls around, obviously they're going to port GTA 5, but when GTA 6 comes around, they could put this game costs $100. Do you know what I mean? $100. That is your price of admission. And then obviously Australia, you'll get screwed, but people would buy it. It'd still make back what 2 or 3 billion in 24 hours, if not more than that. It would do it. So people have got to speak with their wallets or put up and shut up. And I know that sounds like a real cop-out answer, but I think that's the reality of the world we're in.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chunt. Whereas, like, this is where Game Pass starts to look really, really good. But you have to consider, like, with these, like, 2K is one of the highest selling games every year, and along with the Call of Duties, and that game is not going to go to Game Pass on day one when it comes out, and that's when guys like my brother or one of my best friends who only buy one game a year, and it's 2K. Like I was telling him about this yesterday, and he's like, "Well, which one gets me the most VC points? So is it better to buy the original game and then just spend the rest of the money on VC points, or get the number edition? Because he's like, this is the main game that I play every year, and that's just what I'm going to spend the money on." Like that. I don't mind there being a price increase, but the weird thing is I got the Australian prices from JB Hi-Fi, and JB Hi-Fi in Australia is normally the cheapest at $79. But I looked at EB Games, which is probably the equivalent to Game in the UK, which is where I got those prices from. And EB was still like $99, and then but they didn't have the price for the next gen game, so I didn't want to use that as the example.
What I think, anyway.
Yeah, but if they're always going to price match someone else that's cheaper, why not just go to the other place that's cheaper?
Right. Yeah.
But what I'm hoping this actually does is, through all these publishers, is start to create more conversation. Because you're right, Jamie. Cyberpunk is going to be the same amount on whatever console you play it on, but with the idea that what we've been speaking about recently with games like Lost Legacy and the Ratchet and Clank games, and possibly the Miles Morales game, where you have these $40 games that are also out there. I kind of hope that we reach this point where there is not just a standard price for a game anymore, and that publishers actually really take into consideration, all right, how many more people can we bring in by lowering the price, or are we okay to leave it at the last gen price, or maybe do we have to up it by $5 or $10 depending on what region you're in? But I just hope I hope there is a shake up some way, and publishers actually really have to start thinking that, we can't just slap a price on it the same every time. We've got to think about the game that we're trying to sell.
We look at Crash Bandicoot 4 that's coming out, and that's going to be a full price game, and people were like, what? Like they balked at that news where they expected that to maybe be in Aussie dollars, maybe like 50, 59 or whatever, not a $99 game. And I can see where they'd come with that, because I think the remastered trilogy, whatever they came out with, was pretty cheap, considering. If they were going to price their games accordingly, that would be interesting. So there's not just a flat like $100. And if they maybe price their games at how much content there is or something, or how much playtime they anticipate, I don't know. But then that gets real muddy. And how do you gauge that? Like someone that plays Destiny 2 for 1,000 hours, and gets it for $100, for argument's sake. There's an equal enthusiast out there for Crash Bandicoot that'll finish that game like 10 times, and get 1,000 out of it or whatever. And if that's $50 to Destiny's 100, there's a disparity there. I don't know how they're going to figure it out, but I think people are just going to get more selective. I think, like me, I'm going to be very more selective, I think, going forward. Already am. Like I don't buy everything. I don't buy all the new stuff. I often wait for sales or discounts or whatever that comes out, because I just don't like. I'm not comfortable in paying $100 a pop. If you can't even do one a month on that, really, that's like $1,200 a year. Just on adding to my back catalog. For games I might not even get to, but Gears of War, for argument's sake, is one that I'm always going to put down money for. And like your mate with 2K, it's like if that's the one game a year, like Halo or something, I'll probably be like, yeah, just wham, day one on that. You're always going to have those people, and I think that's going to become more common. Like when Gears Tactics comes out on an Xbox, I'll be putting money down on that because I want the physical copy of it. So yeah, I think there's a lot of muddy waters here already. Like even just between the three of us, we kind of have varying different opinions on it. It might not sound like much to a lot, but it's a pretty big thing to consider. And if you wanted to bring the personal aspect into it about the people that work at these companies, you want them to be paid accordingly. And if there's more money for that to happen, to make the better workplaces and stuff, then, if you really wanted to go that route, then you can kind of put it that way and be more comfortable in paying the extra money, as long as you know that it's going to happen. With all the conversations that are happening at the moment with the problems in this industry and stuff, and people being going through a lot of shit and treated poorly, you'd hope a lot of this goes somewhere worthy. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to separate the consumer from the human side of it, for the conversation. But yeah, I don't really have much more to add at the moment besides that.
Well, have you got anything else to add, Jamie, or shall we move on?
No, I think there's going to be more conversations to come out of it, isn't there? Ultimately, I think that's the way we've got to look at it. It's early doors. We've only seen what 2K are wanting to do. We haven't seen what anybody else is going to do. Chant's exactly right. I mean, it makes Game Pass even stronger than it already is, and we'll have to wait until these consoles arrive or until pre-orders for other games come out. I don't think we'll make it past the end of this month without someone else confirming they're making a price hike. Who that'd be, I mean, complete separate discussion, but I don't think it'll be Ubisoft, because they're going to have the same thing that Cyberpunk's going to have, where things are coming out and they've already committed to smart delivery. I think anybody who's already committed to smart delivery will not be bumping their prices, not this year anyway.
We'll move on to the next topic, which is Tencent Holdings, which is China's biggest social media and video game company, has launched a new studio with the former Rockstar veteran Steve Martin, and will focus on development and publishing AAA titles. Tencent Games, Lightspeed, and Quantum Studios said in a statement. So if you don't know who Tencent is, I've just got sorry, I just have it down here. The Tencent is the owner of the League of Legends creator Riot Games and has majority control of Clash of Clans. They also recently hired Halo 4 lead designer Scott Warner to head another studio under TIMI Studios. So they've just been Tencent. I think we hear them a lot in the news, but they're just in everything. Like they're just in all these different little pieces of pie. I think there was a huge story, but basically they said if Tencent went under, like it would be catastrophic to the whole video game industry as a whole. But this is them trying to make headway and have studios in the States. They are based in Hong Kong and they have mainly put their money in overseas. In their overseas. But they're going over to the States now. They've gotten these two guys, one from Halo 4, one from Rockstar, and they've grabbed apparently people all from Rockstar Games, Sony, VASG, Respawn Entertainment, 2K Games, and Insomniac. They've all brought in people from those publishers, so they're going big. Are you guys nervous at all about hearing about this, or are you excited about the type of games they're going to make? Like, what are your thoughts when that news came out this week?
I'll
Just
jump.
yeah, just Hong Kong money. Like, think move smart given what's going on in Hong Kong. Yep, open a studio somewhere else. It's probably not a bad idea. But no, I think it's exciting. It's good. The more money that ultimately goes into the industry, the better. We get better products, right? But I think the thing that people have got against Tencent is the fact that it is, you know, where's the money coming from? It's the whole, no, not blood money kind of thing, but you know what I'm trying to get at. Like, it's that kind of, yeah, what is actually funding this, and why do you need to hold such monopolized stakes in so many businesses attached to the industry? But yeah, like they know how to make money, and if they want to throw a bunch of really creative, really talented people a bunch of that money to make a pretty sick product, then great. In terms of what they'll turn out, you have to think it's going to be some kind of big RPG or action adventure type game. I mean, I don't see them going small fish with this. It'll be that, and then probably accompanied by a bunch of mobile games that are meant to nickel and dime everyone.
Yeah, I'm always a bit nervous about, like, in Australia we have a problem where we've sold off a lot of our infrastructure and stuff to overseas, and I just don't like that happening. Like, I don't want to get too political about it, but I'm always apprehensive to see another country own a lot of stakes in other things that should be home owned, you know. But going into the game industry side, I'm a bit nervous about this China company having so many, you know, tentacles in so many companies, and like owning them a majority stake or being able to control the narrative, you know, kind of thing. We kind of saw it happening with Activision Blizzard, you know, where they're too scared to speak up, and there's like some NBA players that are too scared to speak up about things, you know. So there's all that kind of stuff that I'm just considering, but most people won't even care about because they don't even know. But and then if you want to kind of leave that whole political thing out of it, you can be like, yeah, it's cool, we got a new studio that's got some epic talent, and you just assume that they're going to come out with an epic game, hopefully, with the pedigree of people that are there. But then you know, it just comes back to it, like, do you care where the money comes from, you know, or do you just have to just go, don't think about it, just enjoy it for whatever it's going to be? I think the older you are, the more you care about or consider that kind of stuff, I guess, because your interests grow and vary, and your scope widens. But those who are like younger, that might not be so inclined, they're just going to play the game, like Fortnite, which is the biggest thing on the planet kind of thing, and that's owned by them. So yeah, I'll be very interested to see. Like, I sent that link to you guys to a video last night about Tencent's new sweetness thing that they're putting out, which is like a cyberpunk ripoff by the looks, and it looks a bit weird. You know, it looks dodgy. So I had a laugh because I was like, oh, okay, this is a Tencent game, like a Tencent Studios, it says on the branding and stuff. And I was like, oh, this will be interesting to see what company with this kind of money can do. And I was like, all right, cool. It's a reveal trailer, but all it showed was some character customization. Didn't really show us anything about the game. And even then, like, the models just looked like strange, like mannequin-esque, you know, just this scary kind of doll face, you know. I don't know, I just expected something else from some mega company. But anyway, I could rant on about that, but yeah, apprehensive might be the key word here. Done.
Yeah, I think you're right to bring up the political side of it, Chant. just to think that those Hong Kong protests were at the start of this year, and what the hell's happened since, and where everyone is in the world right now. But we're talking about the game side of it, you know, those studios that those creative talent came from, kind of make me feel good inside, you know, being that I want to play single player games. And when you're talking about Insomniac and 2K games and Respawn, like, and Rockstar, obviously, like, it gives me hope that it's not going to be a battle royale or like a Ubisoft service. You disagree with that? With the people coming from those studios.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but Tencent, they want money. And if you look at the latest Pokemon reveal, where it's a MOBA Pokemon game that's free to start, you know, and that's got Game Freak DNA in it. I would not be surprised if Tencent are like, we want our kind of Destiny Fortnite thing that's ours. You know, that's we've built in-house that no one else has a finger in. We want the whole thing. We want the whole pie. Nom, nom, nom. That's what I think it's going to be. You know, and these guys come from GTA Online stuff. You know, there's that in there. Red Dead. But if that guy from Take-Two or whatever is coming over their head, that studio, you know, there might be a mandate there of going, we want that. GTA Online makes so much money. It's disgusting, you know? So I understand where you're coming from with that, where you're like, yeah, these people make the games I like, but this is Tencent. They want all the money, and the money comes from those whale games, you know? So yeah, sorry to cut you off. That's what I think.
Way to crush my hopes and dreams.
Sorry, Dan.
Just you couldn't have left me alive. You could have shot me in the head, but no, you just had to stamp me out.
I'm looking out for you, mate.
Well, we'll move on to the next topic. If Jamie, you don't have anything more to add,
crack on, mate. Crack on.
A little fluffier piece this week. There was announced that there's in association with Amazon Studios are going to be creating a Fallout TV show by the same producers as Westworld, Jonathan Nolan and his wife Lisa Joy, I think her name is. And first, before we get on to what the main part of this topic is going to be, are you guys excited for a Fallout TV show? Like, have you seen Westworld? Like, does that dampen your hopes? Or
I've watched the first season of Westworld, which was good. I haven't gone back to it since. And Fallout is ripe for a TV show, right? There's enough material there, but do we need it? I mean, I kind of feel like if we were coming out of, if this was coming out of Fallout 4, right? You've had Fallout 4 come out, critical praise, all right, buggy, it's Bethesda, whatever. But it came out to praise, and it came out and was received well. If you do this after that, I think you've got everybody kind of chomping at the bit for it to be made. But because Fallout 76 is the last thing that's come out that's Fallout, and this now, I think it's fallen a bit damp. I mean, on a whole, you know, people don't seem to be too, you know, oh my god, wow, over the moon about it. There's people going, yeah, cool, this might be all right, but there's no real oomph behind it. And I think that's more on Bethesda than it is on the guys that made Westworld and, you know, Amazon wanting to create something like this. Yeah, I'll watch it. It'll go one way or another. it'll be absolute horse shit, or it'll actually be a good video game TV series. It's got good showrunners attached to it. It's just whether the source material is going to be strong enough for them to pull from. There's been nothing said about if they're creating like an original concept or story, or if they're going to pick from any of the games or anything like that yet. So I think that'll lead the direction. I expect them to, maybe go to a cityscape that hasn't been done by the games. So it's not like they go to West Virginia and it's the Fallout 76 part, or they're not going to go to New Vegas or whatever, where they're going to pick somewhere that's not been done and tell their Fallout stories. There is what I kind of picture happening. But yeah, colour me intrigued.
Look, my main concern of this is authenticity. Are we going to have like people clipping through walls? Are we going to have like buggy episodes? Are we going to have like dogs flying in the sky? That's what I'm mainly concerned about. Are we going to have episodes that just disappear? When the next time you come back to watch it? I think they have a really golden opportunity here to make something real.
That'd be fucking brilliant, wouldn't it? Like a proper troll, like just people's heads start like cutting through walls and stuff.
Yeah. Otherwise, I agree with Jamie. Like, I think the property itself lends very well to a narrative, clearly, because it's a narrative-based game that you just happen to play. So as long as they execute it well, yeah, cool. I mean, I don't need it. I think it works well as a video game. The strength of that game comes from you like putting yourself in the game and being a part of that. I don't think it might have the same weight if you're watching it happen to other characters. But yeah, I'm keen to see what they do with it. It could be cool. If you look at some fan projects on YouTube, there's a lot of fan movies and stuff that you can some of them actually have some very decent production value. So if you watch some of that, get an idea. Even those, I'm like, cool. Clearly they love the property and the idea of it. But I just don't think I would watch it, to be honest. Yeah, done.
Yeah, Fallout. What positives I see out of it is the fact of Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy. When you watch even the first season of Westworld, they clearly understand like what mechanics in games draw people in. Like the way they build Westworld is literally like a video game, and like it shows you really have to understand how video games work to display that on the screen. And so I trust that they can understand the property of Fallout. It's interesting the fact that Fallout is a game that doesn't have a main character. So how they build that, whether the one thing I'm probably worried about is that I feel like Fallout in that post-apocalyptic world kind of falls into like a zombie apocalypse as well, where Walking Dead, it was huge at one point, but you realize there's only so much you can do in that type of world, because eventually you start running into the same themes over and over again. Like it's harder to portray new stuff. It's like when they're going to make the Last of Us TV show, which I'm very excited about, but I kind of want it to be like one of those like 1 season things, or maybe 2 season things, or whatever it is, because at some point it's just going to start to devalue the property at that point, because you're just going to retell the same things over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But I will say though, movies are still, they haven't figured out video game movies yet. But I do think for the little stuff that we do have, I think TV shows are proving to be a lot better bet. Like having The Witcher come out how it did, even watching something like the Castlevania series on Netflix, and seeing that Cyberpunk's getting its own little anime as well. I feel like TV is a lot better way to show it off, because you can spend more time in the world, and that's what you do in video games, is you spend a long time in those worlds, flesh it out. So we'll see what happens. But what I wanted to ask you boys is, what games do we think should be TV shows? What games do we want to see as TV shows if we had the choice? Jamie, I'm going to start with you. I asked you boys to try and think of one that could be like a Like if it was going to be like a network show that was 22 episodes or whatever, and then one that would be like your Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad length of 8 to 10. How do you go, Jamie?
Right. So what are we doing? One each, or
just doing both.
You're doing both. So network TV show, Destiny. Obviously, I was going to pick that for one of them. I had to think which way to put it, and just based on that it was saying about world building, I think it'd lend itself to I think Firefly, like a 45-minute episode. So many stories to tell in a world like that. It doesn't have to be super high budget. I'd even take an animated version. Do you know what I mean? Like or a CG or an anime type version of something like that. Tell these stories set off in the universe somewhere. Keep characters from the game as kind of relevant touch points throughout it. Keep your Vanguard there. Make regular trips back to the tower. Check in, see what's going on with people. Use established characters, but also use established characters to tell some stories from the past. I want to see like what was going on in this world before, we became Guardians and we were woken up and all the rest of it. So before the game starts, there's so much lore and history there. They've got 10 seasons worth of TV shows that they could put out. And that's what led me to kind of the network kind of show production of, 20, 25 episodes. 20, 22, whatever they might go through with it. But I think the property deserves it. The world building is there to do it. The fan base is there to do it. Destiny's still got a really, really active player base across all platforms. So it's not as if it's going anywhere. So I think it'd lend itself quite well to that type of a show. And the kind of the more kind of bespoke, 10 episodes, much more theatrical kind of thing to take something out. I kind of got it because The Witcher was primed to do that. So it's like, what else is set similarly in a world like that could work? Weird that Fallout was announced, because I actually thought like an Elder Scrolls type show could work in some way, shape or form, although there's maybe a bit too much magic or low budget TV effects to be able to pull off, irrespective of who's making it. I can't imagine someone like being Fuss Rodard off a mountain top and it looking good with actual human beings. So I struggled with with the 10 episode one. I'd probably go Halo. Like that's something you could hone in on and make like a proper serious like space odyssey thing. And I know we're supposed to be getting a Halo TV show. I'll believe it when I see it, because we've been getting told that since 2003. Where is it? And we've had these dodgy little things that they've tried to produce and put out as. There was a TV show for Halo 5, right? It was part of the Halo channel thing. And it was garbage. So something that's not that, maybe. In terms of a Halo show, I'd really like something set in the Fable world, but again, I think that'd lend itself nicely to this kind of not medieval. We don't know what they're doing with the supposed reboots, but like charming and just funny and a bit not slapstick, but just a nice world to be in. So yeah, that's kind of where I could see. I'd want fantasy, is what I'm saying, is the 8 to 10 kind of episodes, whereas. Something that's a bit more space magic and in your face, go for the network show with Destiny.
Dragon Age, that's another one. That's another fantasy one.
Yeah, that could work quite well. But you see, now I'm just going through my head like with BioWare stuff. And it's like, yeah, Mass Effect could work as well. Mass Effect would be pretty banging. The stories and characters that are there, similar to Destiny, they've been built over so many years, and you could tell so many stories in that world. But I'll let Chunt have his piece. And I hope I haven't just stolen like all of the ideas from him.
No, it's all good. I was actually thinking more for Netflix. Maybe I want a cartoon. I think like Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. That's what I was thinking of. Like they're bringing that back. They've re-released them for Steam like years ago, and now they're bringing them out for current gen. And I really enjoyed those games. They were like Aussie made, like all Aussie stuff, Aussie characters, Aussie voice actors, and I'm happy to see that game coming back. And I'd like to see it that made into maybe some Australian film project, putting out an animated series. Maybe that'd be great. Like Sonic Boom, I hated that show, but something like that, decent enough, doesn't need a massive budget, and just 3D animated. But otherwise, I was kind of going the obvious route of like a maxi series for Gears of War, telling the story of the Pendulum Wars, or before E-Day, that kind of stuff, because we haven't seen it. There's a book about it, but Chunt doesn't read books unless there's pictures in it. So, if they made a comic, I'd probably read it. But if they made it a maxi series of that, like pre-Marcus era, pre-E-Day, before he gets put in prison for trying to save his dad, just build that world. I mean, they've been trying to make a movie of that for years, and Batista's been lobbying to be Marcus for a decade, and I think maybe he might be getting a bit too old for it, unfortunately, because he would have been perfect. But that's half the reason why he's in Gears 5, because he's just been such a strong proponent for the franchise. Anyway, besides that, I was going Anthem, actually. I'd like to see a series on that, because I really enjoyed the hint of what we got, like the world and the way it looks and the suits, and there's something there that I was invested in before I played it. And there's a movie that Neil Blomkamp did, not a movie, like a trailer thing, or a little live action bit that he made before the launch, and they were like, yeah, if this becomes a hit, we're going to make a movie or a series on. And the trailer's still up there that you can watch, and it was pretty awesome. And I'd watch like a 12 episode run of that. Or like, I don't deal with network TV. It
was fucking awesome, that trailer. It was so good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So I don't deal with the whole 30 episode season thing anymore. I just can't. I like a more stronger, like tighter story, and even some of the Netflix shows go for too long. I'm down for like maybe a solid 8-10 episodes. Don't go 12 or 13 if it's just going to be filler shit. That's why movies are so strong, because you get your story in a couple of hours, and it's strong if written well. But yeah, those are probably the ones I had on the top of my mind thinking about it yesterday. Done.
Yeah, I thought you would have watched like the Flash and Arrow and those type of shows, which you 22 episodes.
I did. For example, Flash season 1 and 2 is great, but then season 3 happened, and I was like, uh-oh. And season 4 happened. I was like, yikes, I'm out.
Yeah, it's just fast guy after fast guy after fast guy.
Yeah, the same as with all of those, like Arrow, DC Legends, Tomorrow, Supergirl. Like, they're great for a season or two, but I fall out of it because they start just retreading and doing just filler shit. But yeah. Meanwhile, I'll happily watch Lois and Clark season 1 to 4 again.
So I'm a little bit disappointed in myself. I really tried to think outside the box with some of these ideas, and didn't end up where I thought. Because I was thinking, like, trying to think, what are some like smaller games like Firewatch, or get a game like Dead Space. But when I thought about it, I'm like, those are probably better just suited as movies. Like Dead Space is just a movie about you get stuck on the ship, and then you go through the ship, and then you get off the ship, or you don't get off the ship, however that game ended, because it scared me too much. But all the smaller games, you think like that would just be better as like a movie. So it's funny you mentioned Firefly before, Jamie, because I was thinking of Rebel Galaxy, which is literally a game where you upgrade your ship, you pick up things from a port, you drop it off to another port. Sometimes you get in firefights and things like that, and it's got this amazing like trucker soundtrack. And I'm like, this just makes me want Firefly. So that would be a Firefly itch. But the games I ended up on is I went to Ubisoft for my inspiration. I went Far Cry as your 22 episodes like season. Like literally someone getting stranded on the island. It's basically Lost, but what you can do is in one season it's one island, the second season it's a new character on a new island, just like they do with Far Cry. I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking Far Cry 3, Far Cry 4, less so Far Cry 5 with the hillbillies in America, like more that tropical island you can't get out type thing. So I think you could easily do that. You could easily stretch out a storyline over that many episodes. And then the other one I was thinking of, and it's in the same world, I guess, with Tom Clancy, but Splinter Cell as your 10 episodes season.
Oh, Splinter Cell would be sick.
Yeah, so I've watched a couple of episodes of Jack Ryan on Amazon, the one with Krasinski, and it's actually pretty good. And I'm like, if you could do a Splinter Cell where there's going to clearly be more action based on his talents, but yeah, it's like a Splinter Cell 10 episode season, like that would be. And there's plenty of material out there for Splinter Cell, so you could go a lot of different ways with it. Yeah, that's where I'm heading.
Nice.
All right, boys. This is a pretty quick one this week, but thanks for your time. Thanks for your lovely conversation. Thanks for stamping on my dreams.
Anytime, man.
So, who's hosting? Jamie will be hosting us next week. If you want to follow us, our socials are all down the bottom, and check our Twitter up the top. Ignore the Mixer one. And thanks for joining me, boys.
Yeah, another one in the can. Happy to be here.
And as a leaving parting note as well, I think it'd be remiss of us to not acknowledge all of the crazy crap that's going on in the video game industry at the minute. We talk to each other a lot about it. We try and keep that kind of stuff out of the show. Thank you very much to the 30 or so people that are watching every week. But we see it, we don't commentate on it, and we don't talk about it because it's not good. It's not nice. It's not nice to sit and talk about that stuff. We do this once a week to have fun with each other and talk. But it's dog shit. People need to be better to one another. Stop trying to tear each other completely out of the skies. Let people be proven guilty before they're condemned. And just all around, just be nice. Don't be dicks. Developers, streamers, the works. It's all been coming out of the woodworks these last few weeks, but it's not something where they're just ignoring. It's just be nice humans. We try to be nice to each other.
Yeah,
I can honestly say I don't think I've ever had an argument with either of you in the 7 years that I've known you.
No, it's because we don't have sex. Doesn't complicate it.
Yeah. Suppose there's nothing to argue about if you just don't bang people. So there's your moral of the story: don't have sex.
I just realised how well, that fits in with the
a bit close to the 2/3 chunk, but you wouldn't be if it wasn't.
You stole one of my life mottos there, Jamie. I always say, it's written in the Bible, it's written in the Quran, no matter who you follow, who you believe in, but it pretty much says everywhere, don't be a dick. So just, that's one thing we can all agree on. And
yes.
There's not much more we can also add, so that's why we haven't really had it as a topic, because it's like, don't be shit. Good one.
Yeah. And support the people who've been shit too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those people that have had shit stuff done to them or been, rinsed or left hung out to dry because of any of this crap, show them some support. I have in the last couple of weeks. Don't go out
to attack, go out to support. Support's always a much better way to get things.
It's all love, baby. Love trumps hate.
Yep.
See you next week.
Indeed.
All right, boys, next week will be episode 18. We'll be old enough to drink, and we'll see you then. Thank you very much.
And we've been doing this.
I just signed it off.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just stretching it out for the sake of it. We've actually done, what did you say, 18? Since episode 4.
Next week will be 18.
Since episode 4, we've been in lockdown.
Yeah, right.
I was looking at that earlier. I was like, this is fucking outrageous. But yeah, Dan,
Yeah.
silence
I'm not
you 'cause-
signing off again. You can just end this shit. I'm done.